Ayman here for Seconds Out with one and only Daily Mail's Jeff Powell. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, especially after that fight. What a thriller.
It was a thriller indeed. It was a sickener from a Josh Warrington perspective. But look, in the time that you've been in boxing, can you remember many great reversals like that in such quick an instance?
Yeah, there's been a few down the years. I mean, people can get knocked out when they're winning fights. I mean, Julio Cesar Chavez was losing one of his major fights, and he won it with a stoppage with 2 seconds to go in the last round, in the 15th round. So yes, it happens, and this was exciting to see happen.
In terms of your assessment of the fight, what did you make of both performances from Leigh and Josh?
Both brave, both heroic. Both gave us a great show. It was a fight in the tradition of great British bust-ups, wasn't it? Which we wanted to see. The styles worked perfectly. The boxer against the dynamic puncher, except it was the dynamic puncher who got knocked out. It was, as you say, a great reversal. I had Warrington 5-1 up on the rounds. I could only give Leigh the first round. So, he was heading for defeat, and he snatched victory from the jaws of it. I mean, it was a fantastic effort. And the finish was incredible. I mean, 5 massive punches it took to put him down. And it was a sensational end to a terrific fight.
What did you put down to the reasons to why Leigh just wasn't getting the success in the first five or so rounds?
He was being overwhelmed. The work rate and the aggression of Warrington was tremendous. And anybody I think would have had problems holding him at that time. And he looked to be the one who might be going to go. 3 or 4 times he was staggered. He was an absolute sitting duck for Warrington's left hook. And you could see the eye. I thought maybe Wood's eye might go. It was getting very damaged from being hit easily with the left hook all night. And he looked like the one who was beginning to go, but he found it within himself to throw everything at him after he was given the advantage of a point deduction against Warrington. That seemed to sort of spur him on, and he threw everything at it at the end of the 7th, and it worked.
Josh was maintaining that look. He was knocked down heavy, of course, but he answered the count, although he had his back turned to the referee, and he felt like maybe he should have given the opportunity to continue, considering the round was ending. Do you feel that the referee stoppage, the call there, was fair, or could Josh have continued, maybe, considering the end of the round was coming? I
think any referee had a difficult moment there because he was in serious trouble. He'd taken 5 or 6 huge shots, and if he was back on his feet, which I'm not sure he was properly, then he was out on his feet. Just because the end of the round is nigh, imagine if there had been one more punch, if he'd let him go on, it could have been too much.
Now, talking of the futures, first of all, focusing on Josh, look, he's been a tremendous fighter. He's bring and brought exciting fights.
Absolutely.
What should be next for him? A lot of people will be calling for retirement. Would that be a fair call to make now?
I think it's something he's got to consider. And I was thinking that if he lost this fight, maybe things were coming to an end for him. But he put up such a magnificent performance in this fight. He's got nothing to feel ashamed about and nothing to doubt himself for as a boxer. I mean, he put in a tremendous effort and happened to get caught. I don't think getting caught when you're really, walking a fight of this importance suggests you should retire. But he might. He's had some big fights and he's now losing a few. I mean, this is one of a sequence of defeats. So he'll have to consider whether he wants to continue. I don't think anyone would actually say you should retire, Josh, after this, because he put up a great effort. You get knocked out, you get knocked out. I mean, the one who took the most punishment in the fight was Leigh Wood.
Josh Warrington's dreams burst for the moment. Leigh's dreams get bigger and bigger, and he's got the contractual agreement to have a fight at the City Ground. Yeah. On that basis, he might look to move up a division. But would you favour him against Kolmatov if he does stick at the same weight?
Favour him against
Kolmatov, he believes is the mandatory.
I think he'll probably move up, and they'll go for another big British fight. I think that's what will happen.
Moving on to the things in the wider boxing sphere, just wonder what your take is on the current situation involving anti-Joshua, Filip Erovic, that fight may be happening, and then as well Wallen's position of being mandatory next, which might usurp any claims that other fighters may have.
Well, the truth of the matter is that neither Erovic nor Wallen are in that elite level. Erovic got away with it against Zhang. I thought he probably lost the fight, but he took massive blows, so he's got a chin. But I mean, that might be the best thing about him. A bit like Joe Joyce had a chin, but he was beaten by Zhang, even though he wasn't knocked down. And I don't think Wallen is an exceptional fighter. Both are game fighters. Both can punch a bit, and both could be dangerous. But we wouldn't rank them with Fury and Usyk, would we? I mean, or Wilder, not close.
Speaking of Fury and Usyk, it's signed. Should boxing fans be excited now that it's signed? There's been many false dawns in the past when it comes to the matchups we want to see at heavyweight.
Yeah, I think if they both signed the contract to do it, if one of them were to pull out, they'd have to pay a lot of money rather than receive a lot of money. So I think that will be sufficient motivation for them to get it on at last.
Continuing on the theme of false dawns, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is dead again. Do you stand confident that we ever see that fight?
I don't quite know what the fuss is about that fight. I don't see, what the raison d'etre is for that fight. I mean, both of them should be looking to fight whoever comes out of Fury and Usyk as the undisputed champion. And as the titles fracture, I would have thought that both Joshua could have a last hurrah at a world title, and Wilder certainly deserves another shot because he's the most exciting puncher. He's a bigger puncher than Zhang, and he's one of the most exciting fighters in the world. He deserves to have another chance to redeem himself. I don't quite know. I mean, it's a big money fight for Matchroom. I get that. Anthony Joshua's like the marquee fighter for a stable that needs a marquee fighter at the moment. So I can understand the point of trying to get him to fight a big name in a dangerous fight. But you're basically saying that, given the way AJ hasn't stood up to punching lately, you might be right in the end of his career. So maybe Joshua's saying, hold on a minute, I'd like to fight for a world title before I risk getting hit by Deontay Wilder's right-handers.
Lastly, amid the cloud of controversy, Conor Benn did return to the ring against Rosco. What was your assessment of his performance, and then also kind of where he stands in terms of his position in the sport and kind of the standing with the public as well too, who maybe are looking for more reason as to if he's clear or not?
There's two things I want to say about that. One, that fight shouldn't have taken place because he's not been cleared as he claims. And second, that it was quite interesting to see that he couldn't knock out a very ordinary, weak opponent. Wonder why.
Jeff, we'll leave it there. Thanks for being to SecondsOut, sir.